This is the Weigh In Podcast by Ben Watt Chestnut and the occasional pop-in Sebastian Merrill. On next week's Weigh In, we're going to take a look at where the rankings were, kind of start of the season to where they are now, to the changes and the differences, and also that Oklahoma State, Nebraska dual meet. Oklahoma State University won 22-12. Why are we not surprised? But nonetheless, that is what we're going to be breaking down. I know a few times you guys like us breaking down the rankings, so we're going to go up all the weight classes from 125 to heavyweight to where it starts to where it is now. But nonetheless, that is this week's weigh-in. So if we jump right into this one, first of all, 22-12, not surprised that Oklahoma State won that. Some good cowboy wrestling going on. You know, just really good wrestling going on by Cowboys, and I think that was really good. Into detail, if we get to the detail of what happened, I can very well get you the detail on that. And while I do that, in terms of the way this wrestling season has been going out, it's been really good, but it's been interesting. Into what has happened, to who has shined and who hasn't. Interesting that it was at Nebraska, so we'll get you we'll get you we'll get you we'll get you that report the way you want to see it. So let's get that for you. Okay, so the rundown. So we talk about let me see if I can get it for you. Okay. So we talked about 125. We're gonna start at 125 just to run you through this quick because we got a lot to get through. 125 to heavyweight. So to run you through first, the number 7 Troy Spratley had a major decision over Kale Lendenson, 12-4. We talked about this. Bonus. It's gonna make difference. At 133, Jacob Van Deen of Nebraska had a decision over number 21, Ronnie Ramirez, 4-1. We talked about this was a huge one that I didn't see coming. At 141, the number 2 Sergio Vega had a fall over number 3 Brock Hardy. That surprised me. It shocked me. At number 49, at 149, the number 17 Casey had a decision over the number 5 Chance Lamer. That was interesting to me. At 157, Antoine Taylor had a decision over Landon Rebu. An ultimate tiebreaker. That I'm not surprised about. 165, number 2 Darren Lockett of OSU had a decision over number 10 LJ Arujau. In sudden victory, I'm not surprised that LJ did some good wrestling. At 174, number 6 Minto of Nebraska had a decision over number 14 Alex Fundungo of OSU 1-4. Okay, at 184, Silas All Red had a decision. Number 9 Silas had a decision over number 10 Zach Ryder 4-2. Okay, at 197, Cody Marcello of OSU had a decision over number 12 Camden McDaniels, and at heavyweight, number 7 Connor Dowsett had a decision over Cade Zola of Nebraska 2-1. So here's some interesting developments that I see. First and foremost, no AJ Ferrari. So I'm wondering what. No AJ. So let's see if we can get you a report on that. Why AJ didn't wrestle? Let's see if we can find something there. Do 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 do. We don't see it, so I'm not really getting anything off the top of my head, but we see that in the report, no AJ Ferrari. So if we get down with this 125, at the start, November 3rd, 2025, the number one ranked was Vincent Robinson of NC State. Number two was Junior Troy Spratley of Okie State. By the way, these rankings are coming via Flow Wrestling. The number three was Luke Lilladall. The number four was Eddie Ventresca. The number five was Sheldon Seymour. The number six was Jet Strickenberg of West Virginia. The number seven was Steve O'Poulin of Iowa State. The number eight was Vorvak of Minnesota. And the number nine was Nicolas Rivera. The number 10 was Dean Peterson of Iowa. Let's see if there's any other notable not up there. That's the full runoff. I mean, Tyler Kensonetti, Kinski of Ryder was at 26. He's done some. I've seen some good wrestling out of him. Charlie Farmer of Army was at the 30, and that's kind of the ranking that went on. So now we're going to take a look at that 125, December 22, 2025. So first off, there's a few differences here. That I noticed right off the bat. Vincent Robinson stayed at number one. Luke Lilladall is at number two. Eddie Ventresca is at number three. Sheldon Seymour is at number four. Nick Bouzakis of Ohio State is at number five. So, as we talk about that first five, and when we look at that November, you see in the first five, there is no Nick Bouzakis. So Nick Bouzakis enters up there, which is pretty good. You see a drop in Troy Spratley. Troy Spratley to now is the number 8. Jet Strickenberg is at 9, and I'm pretty sure at November we saw Jet Strickenberg at number 6. So that's a few interesting changes there. In terms of that, we got Dean Peterson at the 7. Steve O'Poulin's at 11 right now, according to Flow Wrestling. At November 3rd, Steve O'Poulin was the number 7. Dean Peterson was the number 10. So you see right off the bat at 25, there's some few changes, but that's because it's been an interesting line to this wrestling season. There's been some interesting stuff that goes on, but that's just a few changes at 125 I'd like to give you. Is if we move on over to this 133, we're going to talk about this 133. We got Lucas Bird at number 1. We got Ryan Cookham at number 2. We got Drake Ayala at number 3. We got Zen Funget at number 4. We got Tyler Knox at number 5. Dylan Sawyer at number 6 of Rutgers. And then at number 7 is Evan Frost. At number 10 is Ben Davino of Ohio State. And number 9 is Marcus Blaze. And then we got Braxton Brown at number 10 and Jacob Vendine at 11. And at number 12 is Richie Figueroa. As we look through this, some interesting low mounds are we got Brett Ungar at 23 of Cornell. But that is the November 3rd, 2025. Let's take a look at this December 22nd. So Lucas Bird is at number 1. We got Ben Delvino at number 2, compared to at November 3rd, Ben Delvino was the number 8. So that's an interesting, he's been able to move up, in terms of way fluorescence sees it. Evan Frost is at 3. And November 3rd, Evan Frost was the number 7. We're going to take a look and see where Dylan Sawyer is now. Oh, Dylan. Dylan Sawyer is the number 14, which I think is fairly interesting. We got Tyler Ferreira of Cornell at number 15. He's done I've seen some wrestling, some nice wrestling from him. Tyler, November 3rd, was Tyler's not even up here. So Tyler wasn't even ranked. That's interesting. So non-ranked up at December 22nd. Pretty cool to see that going on. Drake Ayala is the number 4 as of December 22nd. And November 3rd, Drake Ayala was the number 3. So a few interesting changes at that 133. Do I look at this December ranking for Flow, and do I think that that's possible? How it will go at nationals? I'm gonna give Marcus Blaze a little more credit. Um, I don't think right now he's the number 6. I think he finishes above number 6. I also think Tyler Knox of Stanford finishes above 7. So that's an interesting partake for me. Is I think that's going to be a little thing. Um, and I think Dylan Sawyer could become an All American. So I think it's going to be interesting to how it kind of fades out. But I think the Flow Wrestling's ranking here is accurate. I think there's some accuracy here. I think it's really good. Um, in terms of that, I like it. So let's move on to the next one. 141. 141. So we're going to take a look at that 141, that November 3rd 141. We're looking at November 3rd. So the number 1 ranked was Jesse Mendez. Number 2 was Brock Hardy. The number 3 was Lou Stanch. The number 4 was CJ Compusto, which I agree with. Well, this was the November 3rd, but I do agree with CJ being up that high. Really good wrestler with CJ. Vance Van Bar was the number 5. Number 6 is Zeth Romney. And number 7 is Anthony Etchmandia. Now, and then number 8 is Braden Davis. And then you have Ryan Jack and Nazir Bailey at 9, Nazir Bailey at 10. So that's an interesting thing going there. Then you have Dylan Ragusan at number 11, and then you have number 12, Julian Tagg, and then you have Joey Oliveira at number 13. So when you look at this 141, it's fairly interesting because you got a lot of good guys. You got a lot of good guys like ranked very low, if you ask me. But nonetheless, that's that 1 to, I believe I went 1 to 13 or 1 to 14. Either way, when we take a look at this December 22nd, number 1 is Jesse Mendez. Number 2 is Sergio Vega. Number 3 is Brock Hardy. Number 4 is Anthony Etchmandia. Number 5 is CJ Compusto. Number 6 is Zeth Romney. Number 7 is Joey Oliveira. So we're just gonna kind of go. Jack Ryan's number 8. Vance Van Bar is number 10. Nazir Bailey's at 11. Aaron Nago is at 12. Julian Tagg is at 15. So we're seeing some good stuff. So let's start, from the top right here. Where was Jesse Mendez November 3rd? Jesse Mendez was the number 1 ranked. So we're seeing Jesse Mendez stay on top through this I'd like to say midway through the season, but this holiday breakthrough season. Sergio Vega, the number 2 as of right now on the Flow Wrestling, Sergio was not ranked. So you see now somebody has been able to introduce themselves that at the kind of, I'd like to say November 3rd kind of started the season, was not ranked, now to being ranked. And that's why I say we're seeing some interesting developments in a lot of these ways. We're seeing guys that people weren't looking at in preseason they're making noise now. So in terms of that, it's looking good. Now, the number 3, Brock Hardy. Where was Brock Hardy in November? This is where I'm kind of going to ding this November. No, not really. Brock Hardy was the number 2. Brock Hardy was the number 2 in November. Now, as of December, he's the number 3. So still kind of, moved down 1, but still kind of keeping in that top 5. Number 4, Anthony Etchmandia. Anthony Etchmandia, we've seen some good wrestling from Anthony Etchmandia this season. If you haven't, I would take a look at some of those Iowa State dual meets, and it'll tell you. Anthony Etchmandia was the number 7, so now he's moved up. That's always a good thing to see. In terms of that, we look at the number 5, CJ Compusto. So CJ, and I apologize in advance if I'm if I'm butchering the last name, but CJ Composto was number 4, so he hasn't really moved much. But that's what we talk about. It's kind of we're accurately seeing who these top 8, top 10 guys are, wrestlers are that are going on here in December. When we talk about it, Zeth was the number 6. Zeth in terms of November 3rd was the number 6. You kind of see he's kind of just staying where he's at all this time, which is not too bad. We talk about Joey Oliveira, who's the number 7 right now, according to Flow Wrestling. Joey O's the number 7, which I think is accurate in terms of his wrestling. When we talk about that, in November, he was the 13th. So he went from 13-7. That's a huge jump. And I think in terms of that, we're starting to see some of the stars of wrestling that are able to come out and really wrestle. And I say that because we're able to see some of the real wrestling that's coming out. I say real wrestling because you're seeing a lot of the stars that are able to do a lot of wrestling in this season. Now we're able to see a lot of that going on. So I don't entirely think that there's anything wrong one way or another in terms of wrestling. I think it's looking really well. I think it's looking very good. I think I like where it's at. In terms of this 141, it looks really well, and I think that's a good thing. When we talk about that, so there's a lot of good coming out of this 141 right now. Now, looking at this December, do I accurately think that this is, that the top 8 is how they may finish? I think Nazir Bailey and Aaron Nago are going to be All-Americans. I think they're going to find their way to be All-Americans, and I say that because they've done some great wrestling. Yes, they've had some losses. I'm talking in terms of Nazir Bailey. I haven't seen much wrestling of Aaron Nago, but I do believe that I have some faith in these Penn State wrestlers that they can accurately get out there and wrestle and do what they got to do. And that's just accurately off of Penn State. We all know they wrestle well when they get to nationals. But I do think that Nazir Bailey's going to be able to do some good wrestling. I think Vance Funbar also looks really good. That he made All-American. I think that that's going to look really good. I think it's going to be an interesting nationals. I think because you got a lot of guys that wrestle very well, that are not ranked up top 8, who wrestle very well. But in terms of that, that's the 149, weight class right there. When we talk about that's the 141 weight class. Now we're going to talk about this 149. 149. In terms of December, the number 1 ranked is Shane Van Ness. The number 2 is Jackson Joy of Cornell. The number 3 is Caleb Larkin. The number 4 is Jacob Frost of Iowa State. The number 5 is Ethan Stiles of Ohio State. The number 6 is Coy Bergenski of NC State. Ryder Block is the number 7. He's from Iowa. Cross Wilowski. Penn is the number 8. Caleb Titus is the number 9. There's some notable in here. The number 12, Aiden Valencia, freshman from Stanford. You got Oklahoma State University's Casey Swisserski is the number 13. We got Chance Lamer of Nebraska, the number 14. I think this is another weight class where we got Andrew Clark. Rutgers is Andrew Clark, senior, the 24. I think this is the weight class where we're going to see the most shocker out of this 149 because, yes, I do think that Shane Van Ness can go right through and win this. I don't doubt Shane Van Ness can be the national champ. But when you look at this top ranking, you got in the top 5, we got 2 freshmen. In the top 10, we got one senior and two juniors. We got a lot of sophomores in here. Ethan Stiles of Ohio State, I think wrestles very well. I think he can make some noise, and I do think Jacob Frost of Iowa State's gonna make some noise. Do I think it's an easy path for Shane Van Ness? No, I don't. I really don't, but I think there's some good wrestling that can partake in this second half of second, third half. I mean, second half of the season. I think can take. So we're still going to see some more differences here. In terms of that, let's see how it looked at November 3rd. On November 3rd, we had Shane Van Ness, the number one. We had Casey of Okie State, the number two. We had number three, Lance McNeil of Michigan. We had Jack Goriff of Oklahoma, the number four. We had Paneray Johnson of Iowa State, the number five. Cross Welski of Penn was the number six. Andrew Clark was the number seven. And Chance Lamer was the number eight. Um, do I kind of think that's accurate of how nationals may go? Um, Lance McNeil of Michigan in November is the number three. In December, he's the number 16. So I think that I think you dropped for a reason that significant. I think that I haven't really seen him wrestle. I haven't really seen a lot of Michigan, but you know, I think at this point it might possibly be testament to he hasn't been wrestling well. And I can't say for certain, but I can say that you got a significant drop, and the only way you're dropping that significant is due to not wrestling. Why I can't really give you another reason why it wouldn't or wouldn't, but I look at that top eight in November, and I think maybe Mighty's. I think it's possible. I think that's more likely. But I think this 149 is probably going to be all over because some of these lower these mid. I like to say mid-weight, lower weight. They get a lot of noise that happens between those, so that's going to be interesting in terms of all of that. I think there's going to be a lot of noise to be made. Um, in terms of that. I know that wasn't extensive, but we can go ahead to this 157. I want to make sure we kind of touch through as much as we can, in terms of of these weight classes, because I do tend to get sidetracked and we end up not getting through all we need to do. And this might be very well another moment. But in December, the number one is Brandon Cannon of Ohio State. Ty Waters of West Virginia is the number two. The number three is freshman PJ Dukes. I'm gonna say this. I get that Brandon Cannon's up there. I think PJ Dukes very well could be the national champ. I'm not saying that because he's from Penn State, but I'm saying that because PJ Dukes has done some good wrestling. But Antoine Taylor of Nebraska, I think that's another one. I think when we talk about this, we talk about 157 in terms of it. I think this is a weight class where it's not going to be we're not going to be able to know what's going to go where, because I think this is probably going to have the most shocker. I don't think where we're looking at this midseason touch, which I call it midseason, whether it is or isn't, it's a fact or it's a debate. But either way, it's like I like to call the holiday break. That's what I'll call it, the holiday break here. Not really break, but the Midland come up. I kind of think here that this is probably going to be the weight class where it's probably not going to end how it looks right now. I don't think that you're going to see PJ Dukes take three. I think you may see him at one. You may see Ty Waters of West Virginia, because not Waters, but Watters. But you might see Ty. You might see Ty at number one. You might see, this is an interesting weight, and what makes the difference. And a lot of these we talk to opponents all the time. It makes a difference. But there's some good wrestling coming out of this 57 weight class. Interesting wrestling that it's kind of not just. It's not. It's fairly interesting. In terms of that, what did it look like in November? So let's see what it looked like in November. In November, Antoine Taylor was the number one. Tyler Kisak was the number two. So this is the interesting. What I'm gonna really say interesting. They had Tyler Kisak, Myron Shapiro Cornell was the number three, and Ty was the number four, and Daniel Cardenas of Stanford was number five. You had Vincent Zerban, the number six, and Jordan Williams, the number seven. And Brandon Cannon was the number nine. Now we see PJ Dukes in the ranking over Tyler Kasak, Case, Kasak. Sorry, I'm butchering that. Um, my question, I guess I haven't been up on all my wrestling. What happened to Tyler? So while I'm on the what happened to Tyler, I'm definitely gonna say, yeah. So I don't really know, but we got we got PJ Duke in the ranking now over Tyler. So the question here is, what happened to Tyler? Okay, so I think what not confirmed, but Tyler and Braden Davis, it looks like they're redshirting, turning All Americans redshirting. Interesting. Interesting. So what happens when you don't keep up on your wrestling? You don't see something like that. But nonetheless, let's get back to this ranking. That's interesting. They're on redshirt them. They're on redshirt them. Well, that November 3rd, we gave you that November 3rd. November 3rd looks fairly interesting. And then Okie State, you know, they talk about them. They have Travis Teagan at 15. They're Travis Teagan at 15. I know we haven't really broke down Okie State as much as you think we would. Um, let's see. Yeah, and even Okie State. So you don't see Travis Teagan in no more. You see Landon in. So you know what? What happened to Travis? So now we're going to be on the what happened to Travis. Now we're going to see what happened to Travis. Let's see what if I can find you is what happened to Travis. And that's one we should really know. And I'm pretty sure we've explained that on here before, but right now I just can't seem to remember. Can't seem to remember what happened to Travis. So transferred. Transferred to Missouri. That's what we're seeing here. As of 3 weeks ago, every report says Missouri adds two-time NCAA qualifier Travis Teagan. So he transferred to Missouri. He transferred to Missouri. You know, so that's interesting enough on our front that he transferred to Missouri. So who we've been slacking on that, but that's interesting. You know, I mean, true testament here. You know, they all transfer when they don't get their starting spot. But nonetheless, I'm trying to. We're gonna move on along here with this ranking to where they are now. So Travis Deacon is not even still with the same school, so that's why. But nonetheless, Antoine Taylor was number one in November. Um, he was number one in November. To now he's the number four. So we do see some interesting stuff going on there. Wow! Look at us, man. We only got through half of these. We got through half of these, and we're into the end of the pod already. Well, you know, the goal was to get through all of them. I tried. You know, it's what happens when you get sidetracked. You don't get as much done as you should, but nonetheless, this is the Weigh-In Podcast by Benoit Chestnut and the occasional pop in Sebastian Romero. I won't give you a super long Christmas episode. You know, I know all you are going to be doing what anybody should on this Christmas epi is making sure they're playing with the new toys they got and nonetheless not watching the Weigh-In. If you're watching Weigh-In, that's because you got a tablet for Christmas. But either way, we're in the end. I couldn't really get the way I thought I would get to. And unfortunately, I did not get through all of it, but we got through most of it. So with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Really do, y'all, because I think we had this conversation the other day. Our goal right now was to get 2K by the end of the year in 2025, and right now we are at 1,805, and that means we have 195 views left to make that goal in such a short amount of time. But still, at the end of the day, we're thankful that we got this close. We didn't really think that was going to happen, but really thankful to be this close. So Merry Christmas to all the fans of the weigh-in, to all of you. Enjoy your Christmas, really do. Although this is going to be posting late, I hope you all enjoyed your Christmas and in your time with family. But nonetheless, that's all I got for you on this Christmas special of Takedown Thursdays. Weigh-in out.
The way in where stories ignite.